Hello students, today we are going to begin with the chapter of Inorganic Chemistry, Coordination Compounds. This chapter I will say it's a logical chapter. Some good questions are framed from this chapter for your board exams as well as for your JEE exams. So first of all, we'll know the meaning of coordination compounds. In this video, we'll be discussing the basic terms, the basic concepts that you must know before we actually begin the study of coordination compound. So what are coordination compounds? Are they same to the other salts that we are studying, or they are different? So let us try to learn this concept. First of all, we know that simple salts. From our basic knowledge, we know that simple salts such as sodium chloride, when they are dissociated in water, they produce one cation and one anion. So simple salts, mixed salts. Mixed salts, they produce one cation or two anion or two cation and one anion when they are dissolved in aqueous solution. For example, bleaching powder. It is CaOCl2. Bleaching powder, most of us know this. When it is dissolved in water, produces one cation and two anion. Now, the third one is double salts. Now, what are double salts? Double salts are solutions of two salts mixed in definite proportion and then it is evaporated to get the residue. This residue is called as double salt. For example, potash alum. Formula is K2SO4 dot Al2SO4 whole thrice dot 2H2. Another example of double salt is Morse salt. Now this Morse salt you will be using in titration also. During our qualitative analysis part of the practicals, we are carrying out titration of Morse salt. Its formula is FeSO4 dot NH4 twice SO4 dot 6H2. Now when these are dissolved in salt, it will dissociate into iron cation, sulfate anion, ammonium. So I will get, after dissolving this salt, I will get Fe plus sulfate plus ammonium cation. So I will get all these variety of cations and anion. Now how many sulfate I will get? 1 and 2. So I will get 2 sulfate. And therefore whenever this is treated with BaCl2, that is when it is made to react with BaCl2, it will give the white precipitate of barium sulfate. That means double salt loses its identity when it is dissolved in water. Double salt will get dissociated into number of cations and anions. Now this question is asked in your JEE exam, that how many sulfate anion will be produced when more salt is dissolved in water. So a very simple question. Okay, so double salt will have a lot of cations and a lot of anions, and the most important what you have to remember is that they will lose their identity when they are dissolved in salt. Now we come to the next one, that is complex salt. Now this complex salt is what we are going to study. They are also known as coordination compounds. They are also known as coordination compounds. So these are generally represented by a square bracket. Whenever a square bracket is seen in the formula, You must get the idea that we are talking about the coordination compound. In the square bracket, there is one metal atom and there is one ligand, and this remain intact. This do not dissociate when we dissolve it in water. So this is the most famous and the easiest coordinate compound which I have taken here, K4FeCN6 potassium hexaferrocyanide. Okay, now what type of bond exists in this type of salt? For example, here ionic bond exists between these salts, whereas in case of coordination compound, a coordinate bond exists. What is a coordinate bond? That is a metal metal accepts electron from electron acceptor species. That is, the electron pair is given by one species, and that is shared. Whereas in case of like simple salt, the electrons are given, there is a complete transfer of electron, and in our normal coordinate bond, the electrons are shared. One electron will be shared by one atom and another electron will be shared by another atom. But in case of coordinate bond, only one species will give its electron for sharing. For example, in this case, cyanide will give its pair of electron for the sharing, and that will be shared by iron also. So that is about coordination compound or complex salt. So based on this, we will define complex salt, and then we will see the difference between double salt and complex salt. So this is the definition of coordination compound. In today's video, whatever definitions I will be discussing with you, all these definitions along with examples are asked as a straightforward question in your board exam. Compounds which are formed from the combination of two or more stable compound and retain their identity in solid as well as in dissolved state. So as I told you, whenever you see a square bracket, that means it's a coordinate compound and it is a complex ion, and this whole salt is a complex salt. Now why we are studying these coordination compounds? Are there any uses in its daily life? Are there any examples for the daily life? Yes. Hemoglobin, which is found in our blood. It is the coordinate complex of iron. Chlorophyll, an important constituent of the plants, helpful for photosynthesis. It is the coordinate complex of magnesium. Similarly, vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is one of the important vitamins required by our body. If there is a deficiency of vitamin B12, it can lead to deficiency disease. So it is a coordinate complex of cobalt. Then EDTA. About this we'll be discussing later in the same part of the video. Ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid. Now where it is used? Whenever blood is donated, it is added to that blood so that it avoids the blood clotting, especially when blood is donated after that. Okay, and then what happens? The shelf life of the blood can be increased. That means blood can be stored for a longer time. So these are the examples of coordination compounds which are used in daily life. Now let us see the difference between double salt and coordination compounds. The difference between coordinate compounds and double salt is formulated here, is tabulated here, and any point can be asked as a straight question in your board exams. And we have studied all these points that coordinate compound, they exist in solid state, and when dissolved in water also they will remain as a compact entity, whereas double salt will lose its identity in aqueous state, it exists only in solid state. The properties of complex ion are totally different from the constituent. For example, The property of potassium hexaferrocyanide, which we have studied just now, will be totally different from its constituent element like potassium, iron and cyanide. Whereas properties of double salt will be same as that of the constituent element. Now the ligands are linked to central atom by coordinate bond, and that's why they are called as coordinate compounds. Whereas in double salts the bonds are ionic in nature. Now before we begin the actual study of coordinate compounds, let us clear out some basic terms that are related to coordinate compound, and that is the part of our video today, basic concepts related to coordinate compounds that we must know before the studies of these compounds. The very first term that you must know about coordination compound is what is a complex ion or what is a coordination identity. For example, whatever is written in square bracket, nickel tetracarbonyl, or I will say FeCN6 with 4 minus charge on it, the entity or the ion written inside the square bracket, that is a complex ion, or I will call it as a coordination identity. What will be the correct definition? A central metal atom bounded to a fixed number of oppositely charged ions on neutral molecule. Central metal atom we can also say as metal atom, or it can be in central metal ion also. So this is the first term used in coordination compounds. Now once we know the things written inside the square bracket, they are called as complex ion, and when it is written inside the square bracket, this whole term will be called as coordination sphere. For example, FeCN6 4 minus. Now this completely will be called as coordination sphere, whereas simply FeCN6 will be called as complex ion. Now since it has a charge on it, I will term it as it is anionic complex. Similarly, we have cationic complex also. For example, cobalt hexaammonium. So it's a cationic complex. We have neutral complexes also. For example, nickel tetracarbonyl. It's a neutral complex. Now to neutralize this charge, we will add another ion to this complex salt, which will neutralize this salt. For example, to FeCN6 4 minus, I can neutralize this charge by adding potassium. So now this compound become K4FeCN6 potassium hexaferrocyanide. Okay. This part will dissociate in water. When you dissolve this whole compound in water, only this part will dissociate, but this square bracket remains intact. The complex ion does not lose its identity. Only this part will be ionizable, and therefore it is called as counter ion. So I will say the ionizable group written outside square bracket is called as counter ion. In case of anionic complex, the counter ion will be cation, and in case of cationic complex, the counter ion will be anion. At the starting of the video, we have seen that coordination ion will have one central metal atom. Now that central metal atom can be defined as atom or ion in which a fixed neutral molecular ions are attached to coordination entity. Now this central metal atom must be able to accept the electron which are given by the other species. For example, in the first example, which is the central metal atom, it will be nickel. Nickel will be central metal atom, whereas in second case, iron will be the central metal atom. Nickel will accept the lone pair of electron from ammonium. Iron will accept the lone pair of electron from cyanide. Now since this central metal atom, they are electron acceptor species. Okay, this central metal atom, we can also write as CMA. They are electron acceptor species, and therefore they are also termed as Lewis acids. Okay, we have a lot of metals in our periodic table. So which type of metals will be best suitable for making a coordination compound? There are two conditions. The first one, the central metal atom must possess vacant orbital. Now why they must possess vacant orbital? So that they can accept the lone pair of electron given by another species. And secondly, they should have small size. Now both these factors are completed by d block elements. Both these conditions are fulfilled by our d block elements or transition elements. And therefore in most of the coordinate compounds, transition element act as a central metal atom. Now this point will be repeated again in the chapter D and F block element. So I hope this is clear to you. Central atom, metal atom, generally it's a transition element. It accepts a lone pair of electron from the other species, and therefore it is also termed as Lewis acid. In this term, we have seen that central metal atom is bonded, is the one which will accept the lone pair of electron. That means there must be any species which will donate it the lone pair of electron, and such a electron donor species is called as a ligand. Ligand is the ion or molecule bound to central metal atom, and now here the bond formed will be coordinate bond. In coordination entity is called ligand. Now since they are electron donating species, therefore they are Lewis base. But all ligands are not Lewis base. Example, benzene. Now in benzene we know there are 6 pi electron. Now all these 6 pi electrons cannot be donated, and therefore benzene is not a Lewis base. Now these ligands are very interesting class of ions or molecules, I will say. These ligands are further classified based on either charges or the number of donor atoms. So now let us discuss that. The first classification is based on the charges. We have negative ligands, positive ligands and neutral ligands. Negative ligands, there are plenty. Let us discuss one by one. Negative ligands, that means they must have a negative charge on them. For example, cyanide, halogens, hydroxyl, carbonate, sulfate, acetate, then nitrate, nitro, ONO minus, and EDTA, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, about which I have told you at the starting of the video. Positive ligands, they have positive charge on them. For example, NH2, NH3 plus, NO plus, NO2 plus. Neutral ligand, they don't have any charge on them. For example, H2O. Also, we can also write it as aqua. Pyridine, we write short form PY, pyridine. About pyridine we have studied a lot in organic chemistry. Ammonia, carbonyl, etc. In our chapter, we'll be focusing basically on negative ligands and neutral ligands. The next classification is based on denticity. Now, what is the meaning of denticity? The number of donor atoms in a ligand is called as its denticity. This definition is asked many a time for 1 mark. So denticity means the number of donor atom. I can also say the number of binding sites or the number of electron pairs that are donated. Suppose one bond is formed, two electrons are donated, or I will say one pair is donated. If two coordinate bonds are formed, that means there are two donor atoms, or there are two binding sites, or two pair of electrons are donated. Based on that, the very first type of ligand is monodentate ligand. Monodentate ligand means they possess one donor atom, or I will say they will have one binding site, or I will say they form one coordinate bond. Now this question is asked, a ligand will be given to you and you will be asked about its denticity. For example, ammonia. There is one lone pair on ammonia. So this lone pair can be donated and one coordinate bond can be formed. Cl minus, Cn minus. Now the interesting case is that of H2O. We know in H2O on oxygen atom there are two lone pair, but only one can be donated at a time because of geometrical constraints, and therefore it will be a monodentate ligand. Similarly, O2 minus, there will be two lone pairs but only one can be donated. The second type of these ligands is bidentate, also called as didentate. As the name indicates, we can guess that how many donor atom it will have. It will have two donor atom, or I will say they will donate two pair of electrons, or I will say it forms two coordinate bonds. For example, oxalate ion, which is derived from oxalic acid. So these both lone pairs will be donated and therefore it is a bidentate ligand. So I will say its denticity is 2. Now this type of question is asked. You are given a ligand and this type of questions are asked. So you will be given a ligand and you have been asked to calculate its denticity. So okay, oxalate ion denticity is 2. The next example is ethane 1,2-diamine, commonly called as EN. Now this is a very important and interesting class of ligand, ethane 1,2-diamine. Its structure is ethane and two nitrogen atoms will be attached to it, one lone pair on each of nitrogen atom. Now both these lone pairs can be donated and therefore it is a bidentate ligand, or I will say by donating these two lone pairs it can form two coordinate bonds. The next example of bidentate ligand is glycinate, commonly written as GLY. Generally for ligands we use short forms wherever it is possible. The structure is NH2CH2CO-. Now the lone pair on nitrogen and this negative charge, they will be the binding sites, or I will say this will act as a donor atom, as well as this lone pair of electron, it will also act as a donor atom. Another example is sulfate, SO4 2-, two charges that can be donated. Now suppose the ligand can donate more than two electron pairs, then we will call it as polydentate ligand. So polydentate ligand, that means they possess more than two donor atom. Okay, let us discuss the example. I have already told you just now that EDTA, the most famous example ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid. Its structure we can derive from ethane 1,2-diamine. We know the structure of ethane 1,2-diamine, CH2, CH2, N. The lone pair is present. Now NH2, now that 2 hydrogen atom will be replaced by acetate. So total how many electron pairs can be donated, or I will ask you how many binding sites? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I will say denticity of EDTA is 6. Now this question was asked in your JEE. What was the question asked? About the structure. So if you know the structure of ethane 1,2-diamine, you can easily write the structure of EDTA. So this was the first example. The second example is phosphato. PO4 3-. Let us discuss its structure. Phosphorus is attached to 3 oxygen atoms, 1 double bond and 3 single bond. Singly bonded oxygen atom will carry 3 charges. So what will be the denticity, or how many electrons can be donated, or how many binding sites? 1, 2, 3. And therefore I will say denticity is equal to 3. Now in polydentate or didentate ligands, we know that more than one donor site or more than one binding atom site is present. Suppose due to geometrical constraint, a di or polydentate ligand uses its 2 or more donor atom to bind to a single metal ion, then it will be called as a chelate ligand. And the phenomena is known as chelation property or chelation effect. Now this definition is important. Many a times it is a frequently asked question. For example, in case of this phosphato ligand, suppose this phosphato ion uses these all three binding sites to bind to a single metal ion, then we'll call it as a chelation effect. Now sometimes a ligand can bind to a metal atom by both the sides, or it can bind to different sides, and such ligands are called as ambident ligands. This we have studied in organic chemistry also under the heading ambident nucleophile. Now again mark this definition as a frequently repeated question along with the example. For example, nitro can ligate through 2 different atoms. Suppose nitrogen site is used to bind to metal, then we will call it as nitro N. Now it can use oxygen also. So it can ligate through oxygen site also. In that case we will call it as nitrito O. So whatever these examples of ambident nucleophile we have studied, they are same examples of ambident ligands. Metal, if it binds through sulfur side, then we will call it as a thiocyanate. And suppose the same ligand, if it binds through nitrogen, then we will call as isothiocyanate. Even cyanide is a bidentate ligand, cyanide, isocyanide. It can bind through 2 different atoms. So such ligands are called as ambident ligands. The next term which we have to study is coordination number. The total number of ligands attached to central metal atom is called its coordination number. We also write in a short form CN. It's a very simple one. For example, let us take this example, AgCN2-. So how many ligands are attached here? 2. And therefore coordination number of this coordination complex will be 2. I hope you have understood. Very simple one. Another example, NiNH3 4 2 plus. So what will be the coordination number? 4 ligands are attached here and therefore it will be 4. Now take one more example. FeC2O4 thrice 3 minus. So what will be the coordination number in this case? Here the student make the mistake. Now they may think that coordination number is 3. But we have to remember that this is oxalate, and oxalate is a didentate ligand. And that means it has 2 donor atoms. So 2 donor atom and such 3, and therefore coordination number will be 6. Next is a very interesting concept, oxidation number of central metal atom. Now let us take the example NiNH3 6 2 plus. Now suppose I remove this ligand along with the all electron pair that it has shared with the central metal atom, then this central metal atom will be left out with some charge, and that charge is called as oxidation number of central metal atom. We can calculate this oxidation number of central metal atom by using the same method which was studied in your class 11 in the chapter redox. Now for example, in this case I want to calculate the oxidation number of nickel. So I will take it as X plus 6 into ammonium. It's a neutral ligand, therefore no charge, 0. That is equal to plus 2, and therefore in this compound the oxidation state of nickel will be plus 2. One more example. COCl NH35 2 plus. I want to calculate the oxidation number of cobalt. It will be X plus chloride. We know it's a monodentate ligand, that is minus 1 charge, plus 5 into again ammonia 0, that is equal to plus 2, and therefore the oxidation number of cobalt in this compound will be plus 3. Now suppose any counter ion is present, then how we will calculate? Suppose the counter ion is present, we have to consider that counter ion also. So in this case, the oxidation state of iron X plus 4 into plus 1 plus 6 into minus 1 equals to 0, because there is no charge on this whole coordination complex. It's a neutral one, and therefore X value will be plus 2. That means iron is in plus 2 oxidation state in potassium hexaferrocyanide compound. In class 11th in VS APR theory, we have studied that every molecule has its own geometry and shape. Similarly, coordination compounds also have its own geometry, that is they are arranged in a particular direction in space. So this spatial arrangement of ligand and central metal atom, the overall spatial arrangement is called as coordination polyhedron. For example, CONH36 with 3 plus charge on it is octahedral in nature. That means in space it will be arranged in an octahedral manner. Nickel tetracarbonyl. Now this is a tetrahedral in nature. So like this, every coordination compound has a certain spatial arrangement, sometimes octahedral, sometimes tetrahedral, sometimes square planar, about which we will be discussing in detail in later part of this chapter. Now a ligand can be attached to either one type of, a central metal atom can attach to either one type of ligand, or it can attach to more than one type of ligand. Suppose the central metal atom, it is attached to only one type of ligand, then we will call it as a homoleptic complex. Suppose this will be homoleptic. And suppose the central metal atom is attached to more than one type of ligand, 2 ligands or sometimes even 3 ligands, then it will be called as a heteroleptic complex. Again I will say these definitions are asked as a direct question. So all the definitions that we have seen along with the examples, they are asked as a direct question in your board exams, as well as there are some important questions with respect to JEE that I have already discussed with you. So what we have seen today, suppose there is any coordination compound with us, then this whole square bracket will be called as coordination sphere. The entity present inside the square bracket, it is called as coordination entity. The metal atom which is present in the coordination entity, that is called as a central metal atom. And this central metal atom is generally from D block. It is a transition element. Whereas the electron donor species, central metal atom is electron acceptor. So this electron donor species is called as ligand. We have seen the classification of ligand based on the charges, based on the density, etc. And the outside ionizable part, this is called as counter ion. So when we dissolve this coordination complex in water, only counter ion will ionize and this coordination sphere will remain intact. So with all these basic knowledge, with all these basic terms, basic concepts, now we will proceed for the chapter. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.